What's up, everybody? King of Fomo here, coming at you with your daily crypto update. Make sure you follow me over there on Telegram. That's t.me/kingoffomo1, as well as my chat, which is going to be linked in the description below. In this video, we're going to be talking about WiseToken and what my strategy is going to be for purchasing into this and maximizing my earnings in this liquidity transformation epoch. So, of course, there's going to be comparisons with WiseToken with DSP and T2X and Hex as well. Now, personally, I do like WiseToken better because I feel like they have really thought about how to just engineer and make this a better platform overall, whereas DSP and T2X kind of just took what Hex did and put it on Tron and didn't really change too much. So we'll get into the comparisons between them, and I'll talk about that in this video as well, but mainly I want to talk about strategies on how to buy and how to maximize buys in this platform. Before I talk about it, let's just first make a quick comparison to how these things are doing, how WiseToken and DSP token are doing, since they basically launched pretty much close to the same time within a 3-day time span. So with DSP token, you can see that they have about 16 million Tron deposited into this contract over the past 4 days. Now, if we take a look at how much that is in USD, 16 million Tron is worth about $402,000. Now, with WiseToken, this one launched less than, I'd say, about 12 hours ago, so it's still in its first day, and it currently has a total of 762 Ethereum, which means it's putting it at $236,000. So WiseToken already is off to a better start than DSP, and I think rightfully so, since the Tron network, I've been having a really bad experience with the Tron network for quite a while now, and I think most people are on Ethereum, so I think that the potential, just because of the fact that WiseToken is on Ethereum, is higher. Even though I know people are going to complain about fees, nonetheless, everyone is still on Ethereum regardless of the fees. So it's earning about almost half as much in a fourth of the time, or even less than a fourth of the time right here. So WiseToken is currently doing a little bit better than DSP. Now, another reason why I think that WiseToken is going to continue to do better than DSP is because of the way that it's set up in terms of how you buy. Now, one of the things that you guys have to note here, if you want to maximize your earnings, they do have referrals here on WiseToken. It's not an intrusive referral system, and by that I mean they're not going to just vampires suck out all of the funds from people just referring people over and over again. It's not that type of platform. But what happens is, if you're using a referral link, so I highly recommend that you do find a referral link. If it's not mine, click on somebody else's, so that you can earn an additional 10% in Ethereum for reserving the Wise tokens and an additional 10% in staking power. If you just jump in right away without doing a referral link, you will actually be earning less than everybody else who is using one. So good marketing strategy, but we can talk about that in a separate video. All right, so let's get right into the strategy of this thing. What is my strategy? Now, typically, it's actually disadvantageous for me to tell you what my strategy is, because if all of my followers and all of my people who watch this video do the exact same thing as me, then it's going to dilute the pools that I'm in, and we will all make less money from doing that. But of course, like I said, you guys can use this to your advantage to develop your own strategy, and I don't think that's going to affect things too much, because I think WiseToken is going to continue to grow, and it's not just going to be my people buying the WiseToken. So first, let's take a look at the reservations that are here so far. Now, the way that this works is every single day that passes by, you can no longer reserve for that day. So after day 1 is over, no more people can buy for day 1, and you can only buy for days 2 through 50. So that's the first thing that you have to keep in mind. Now, I am going to ignore the random factor in this whole video because I can't predict random. So when we look at things like the extreme supply and the random supply, I'm going to treat those as if you're getting the same amount of Wise no matter what. But of course, if you're the gambling type, you can earn a lot more from just taking the extreme risk and putting most of your funds into the extreme supply day. Potentially, that could actually not work out, because if everybody else does that, it's gonna not even out any at the same time as well. So anyway, that's the first thing you have to keep in mind, is that you're kind of in a really interesting position right now. If you're watching this video, if you watch my last video about WiseToken, I do think that this thing is going to continue to gain hype as time goes on. So I think that there's going to be more and more people depositing Ethereum as time goes on. Now, what that means is that this day 1 is actually might be advantageous to purchase into, because there's the least amount of people that know about WiseToken is going to be on day 1. So theoretically, you can't that can have the smallest amount of people buying into this, whereas opposed to 20 days from now, if we have 20 times the amount of people purchasing tokens here in WiseToken, then obviously they're not going to have been able to purchase on days 1 through 20. So those days you're going to be getting more of that supply that's being handed out because there's just less people in that pool overall. And typically, if there's less people, there's also going to be less Ethereum in that pool. And let's just say that you put in 1 out of 100 Ethereum in this first pool, you can get a pretty nice chunk of that 5 million WISE tokens. Whereas opposed to if you're buying on day 50, when everybody, the maximum amount of people already know about WISE token and they want to kind of just get in the last moment, if a lot of people buy on day 50, then you're going to be out of luck because it's going to be a lot of Ethereum. It's going to be diluted through a lot of different people. So that's the first thing that you want to keep in mind when strategizing and buying into here. The next thing that I'm personally doing is I already set a target, a number. I'm going to be putting about 70 Ethereum into this platform altogether. So you might want to pick a number and decide the number that you're going to do for the entire 50-day time period. Now, you can just go ahead, and if I go back here and actually look like I'm going to purchase, I'm going to go to reserve WISE tokens right here. And you can just go ahead and select all the days that you want to select right now if you don't want to look at it later and, try just to roll the dice and figure it out that way. But that is not what I'm doing. This is actually the best thing to do if you don't want to deal with transaction fees. And if you're putting in a smaller amount, that's probably the better idea. But if you're putting in maybe a larger amount and you're not too worried about transaction fees, then this is another strategy that you can do. And what that is I'm going to be purchasing by looking at how many people are in the pool every single day. So I would look at maybe 5 days at a time, like the next 5 days. I'm not going to look all the way ahead to day 50 because I have plenty of time to decide if I want to buy on day 50 and how many people are going to be in that pool. But my strategy is going to be to purchase into the lowest Ethereum pool for that 5-day time span. All right, so maybe I might pick 2 days, maybe I might pick 1 day. I really don't think that I'm going to be selecting all days. I'm going to take a little bit of a risk and try and get a little bit more WISE tokens out of this instead of just going for the average because, strategizing is something that you can do, and just doing every day is going to give you the average. So by doing this strategy, if I'm looking at the next 4 days, so there's 155 here on day 1, there's 91 here on day 2, 78 on day 3, 66 on day 4, and day 5. So I might look at day 4 and day 5 and say, you know what? I think I'm going to want to go with day 4 or day 5 because it has the lowest amount of people, particularly day 4 has the lowest amount of Ethereum, so that's the one that I would purchase into today. Now, granted, it could be 2 or 3 days from now, a lot more people know about WISE, and then all of a sudden a lot of people purchase in on day 4 for WISE, and that makes my strategy completely and totally a failure because I picked the wrong day, and these other days that were earlier actually had less people and less Ethereum in it, therefore giving me a bigger return in the WISE token overall. So there really is no way to know for sure what the best strategy is. Some luck is going to be involved in it whatsoever, but generally, if you're looking at this in terms of just statistics, less people know about WISE token right now, so less people are going to be putting in less Ethereum in the earlier days. So I'm going to try and wait most of my buys probably here on the earlier days, but keeping that in mind, other people, if they're smart, probably think the same thing. So you might also want to take a look at day 50 because a lot of people, when they start figuring this out, they're going to think that day 50 is going to be the worst. Nobody's going to buy, or day 50 is going to be the worst. Too many people are going to buy on day 50. And then it ends up being that everybody's thinking that, so nobody actually buys on day 50, and day 50 is going to be a good day to buy. So a lot of ways to really think about this. But in my opinion, the way that I'm going to do this is to look at this in 5-day chunks and try and, cherry pick that lowest Ethereum day out of the 5-day chunks from my 70 Ethereum that I'm going to be putting in overall. And again, I'm not doing like half an Ethereum or 1 Ethereum at a time. Transaction fees will destroy you if you keep doing that too long. So kind of spread it out evenly if you're doing it that way. So that's my strategy with the WISE token. And that strategy doesn't actually work with DSP because you only have the option to purchase on that day. So there's just a lot less strategizing that you can do. It really is a lot more luck based and a lot of just, are people distracted and not going to buy today? That's got to be your only strategy that you can work with DSP. Now, personally, I wouldn't actually buy DSP today. I think today is probably going to be a terrible day to buy DSP because there was a lot of videos that was put out within the past 24 hours talking about how DSP is extremely, extremely good. So I think that this day 4 and maybe day 5 and 6 are going to be some of the biggest days. So I'm going to wait until the hype dies down a little bit, because even though the staking rewards will actually go down from doing that, I think that it will outweigh by getting a ton more tokens. Like I've seen with Hex, for example, you had so many people buy on day 1 for Hex that you got basically ripped off if you bought on day 1 for Hex. And similar case can happen with DSP when you have so much hype. Days 4, 5, and 6, there's way too much Tron in the contract, and you get kind of ripped off because even though you're getting a nice return, you get way less tokens. And then on days 7 or 8, when people kind of just forgot about it, you're going to get way more tokens, and the rate's still going to be pretty good. Not as good as the days before, but you're getting double or triple the amount of tokens, and the rate's half as good. You're still getting a better rate than if you would have purchased on the super popular day. So that's just a strategy that you can consider with DSP token when you're purchasing into here. Buy on the days where people have forgotten about it. Do not buy on the days where people are hyping it up. That's just what I would do. So that is everything for this video. I'm going to be putting some more videos out a little bit later today, probably about passive profit platforms as well. And I'm going to keep talking about WiseToken and strategies for this thing. I think this thing has a lot of room to grow, and we are at an early point. So if you're going to take advantage of that opportunity and reserve some of these WiseTokens when the least people know about it, maybe day 1 has 132 Ethereum, which is a ton. Maybe that's not a ton. Maybe we're going to see 100 Ethereum in each day. We'll see. I bought a little bit for day 1, but I'll probably look at days 2, 3, or 4 and do a bigger buy there. That's everything for today, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know if you guys have your own strategies in the comments section, and particularly in my Telegram chat. I'd love to discuss this with you guys further and see what you guys are thinking, and kind of really just come up with a strategy collectively together that we all can figure out on our own. All right, guys, that's everything for today. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.